أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا فعلمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is the lecture number 6 about the Tazkiyah, the purification of heart and soul. And in the previous lecture, I talked about the heart and the stages of heart, the healthy heart and the sick heart and the dead heart. And I talked about the signs of sick heart. And I talked about how the heart can be transferred from the sickness to the healthy level, or otherwise from the healthy level to the death level, which is, may Allah forbid, is the reverse against what we are talking about. So inshallah, today lecture I want to talk about the nafs and the heart. So what is the difference between the nafs and the heart? So the scholars, they said the word nafs, it means that it is the same thing, means it is the person himself. And some other scholars, they said the nafs is the blood which is moving and circulating in the body. And some of the scholars, they said the nafs is the soul which is inside our bodies. And some of the scholars, they said that the nafs is the light which is obvious on our bodies from the outside and from the inside. And when you go to sleep, your outside light goes off because you are sleeping, but your inside light is still going on. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allahu yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha. Hina mawtiha means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is holding the souls when people go to sleep. So to understand this meaning, dear brothers and sisters, let's see what Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma said here. He said that every human being has two nafs. One of them is connected to the mind, to the brain, which can distinguish and judge and analyze, while the other nafs is connected to the soul, which is the reason for our living. And some of the other scholars, they said that the nafs and the soul is the same thing, while the others, they make a separation. They said they are not the same thing. But indeed, they said the nafs is given this name because that the breathing is delivered and caused by this nafs, while the soul is given this name because it is the reason for our life. So anyway, regardless of these descriptions, let's go again back to the three types of the nafs. As I mentioned in lecture number 3, I think, that the nafs are basically classified into 3 categories. So the first category is the nafs which is pushing her body to do the sins, al-ammara bis-su. And this nafs which push her body to enjoy and have fun and to take him away from that point which he can think about the consequences of the sin. So this nafs decorate for him the sin and the pleasure he will have from doing that sin, while she's trying to fade out all the consequences of that sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. So this nafs which order her body to do the sin is always there. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said that every one of us has two situations. The first situation where the angel has the priority and the power over ourselves. And the second situation where the shaitan, the evil, he has the power over ourselves. So when the angel has the power over ourselves, so he show us the good deeds and he push us to do the good deeds. While if the shaitan has the power on ourselves, so he is promising us with evil and make us to go to the uncertainty and lies away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this type of nafs, as I mentioned, it fade out the consequences and the results of the sins, so that this body will have it easy for him to do the sins, and he will think that the sin is the top of the pleasures. The second nafs, which I want to describe here a little bit more about it. So it is the nafs which is always blaming her body if he did mistakes or he commit a sin. And also it blame her body if for his shortcomings and for not doing good deeds. And this is the nafs which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us swear, وَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالنَّفْسِ اللَّوَّامَةِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never make a qasam or a swear except with things which is considered great. So this nafs has the power to blame her body. Now, if that human being listen to this nafs which is blaming him for what he did, so if he responded positive, then in the next time when he did a shortcome or he did another sin, then the blaming from this nafs becomes bigger and greater. Now, if in the first time that body did not listen to this nafs, so the nafs blaming him for his shortcome, so if he just turned his back for this blame and he didn't bother himself, so the next time when he do another sin or another shortcome, then his nafs blaming will be less than the first time, and so on. The third nafs, dear brothers and sisters, is an-nafs al-mutma'inna, the comforted nafs. This nafs which loves the good deeds and loves to stay close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reminding her bodies with the blessings of Allah and the reward in Jannah if he stay close and pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this nafs hated the evil and the bad deeds, and this nafs get very annoyed about all kind of bad deeds and sins and shortcomings, while it becomes happy and satisfied for the good deeds and the good actions from this body towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the question, dear brothers and sisters, once we know this type of nafs, now we have to understand the rules. How to deal with this type of nafs. So in order to have these rules, dear brothers and sisters, we have to understand these principles. The first principle here, dear brothers and sisters, that our nafs never give orders to do good deeds and forbid bad deeds. Even if our nafs reach to the state of the comforted nafs, an-nafs al-mutma'inna, we have to know that this nafs will not enforce good deeds and order us to do good deeds because this nafs is happy and satisfied with it by itself, no, but because that we have controlled our nafs by fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fearing the day after. This what make us to take the control over our nafs and make us guiding this nafs towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if at any moment we unleash this nafs and we give her the freedom, indeed this nafs will go back to the first thing, which is encouraging to do shortcomings, laziness, and bad deeds. So if we control and leash our nafs, then we can guide her. But if we unleash and give her the freedom, then this nafs will order us to do bad deeds and stay away from Allah. The second principle here, dear brothers and sisters, that this nafs is always looks for the desires and always thinking about the desires and satisfying our human being desires. Because the nafs is a collection of all the desires which is in our bodies, like love to be well known, like loving women, loving money and chairs, power, etc. So the third principle, dear brothers and sisters, here, if you become satisfied with your nafs, then this is the start of the going into hell. Which means, as I mentioned, because a nafs is always will stay as it is always encouraging you to fulfill the desires of your body, the desires of your hawa and imagination. So this is something will not be changed. So if you are satisfied with your nafs, then your nafs will take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, 3 things will take you to hell. 3 things will take you to hell. Shuhun muta' means holding tight your hand, not spending for the sake of Allah. And then the second one, hawan muttaba', if you follow your desires and shahawat. And the third one, i'jabul mar'i binafsi, you are proud about what you are doing and you are proud about yourself. You like to show yourself over the others. So this authentic hadith give us a very important message, that when you are feeling proud about your nafs, when you feel you are satisfied with your nafs, then this is the starting point where you are going down, and your action and good deeds will start sinking down and diving, and you never go up until you take back the control and you blame your nafs and you leash your nafs. Now, dear brothers and sisters, how do I deal with this type of nafs? This is very important to understand how to deal with the first type of nafs, an-nafs al-ammara bis-su, the nafs which is ordering us to do bad deeds. How do I manage to deal with this type of nafs? So we have to understand the relation between this nafs which is forbidding the bad deeds, which is ordering the bad deeds and forbidding the good deeds, between this nafs and our minds. So indeed, our nafs is always affected by our sense, which means that our looking affect our nafs, our hearing affect our nafs, our touch, our smelling, tasting, all these are the resources for the nafs. And the nafs collect the data from all our sense, and this data will go to the nafs and give some kind of pictures and impressions into our nafs. So for example, when you see movies, so you collect pictures and you collect hearing, sounds, and things which can motivate your nafs to ask you to do the sins. Look what the Prophet ﷺ said, that it was written on all son of Adam his part or his share from the zina, and he will reach to it and he will have this share no matter what he did. Which means, dear brothers and sisters, that every human being has his share from the zina. Means the zina, doing zina. And the zina, here the Prophet ﷺ continue in the hadith, he said that your eyes zina is looking, and your ears zina is hearing, and your tongue zina is talking, and your hand zina is powerful and actions, and your legs zina is the footsteps you are doing, and while your heart is wishing and hoping. This is authentic authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim, which means, dear brothers and sisters, that every one of us, man or woman, male or female, has a portion of the zina sin in his heart. You collect all these pictures from all your sins, from your eyes, from your hair, from your tongue, from your smell, from your hand, from your legs. And your heart, based on this collection of this data, will be motivated to ask you to do this sin and to ask you to do that desires. Now, we have to understand the difference now between the whispering of the shaitan to us and the desires which is pushing us from our nafs to do the sin. So how can I distinguish between my nafs motivation and the shaitan motivation? So the nafs, dear brothers and sisters, it is always pushing you towards doing one type of sin, one type of shortcome. While the shaitan is the thief. He doesn't care which type of sin you are doing. He wants you to do all kind of sins, all kind of mistakes. So the shaitan whispering is everything, about everything, while your nafs is always focused about one type of shortcome or sins. So, dear brothers and sisters, now we understand the relation between an-nafs al-lawwama, the first category of the nafs, and your mind. And we know now that all the resources for this nafs is your sense. Now, what is the relation between an-nafs al-lawwama, the second type, the second category of nafs, with your mind? The relation here is less effect. So the first one, the first nafs, effect is too high. While this nafs, effect between the nafs and the mind is less. Why? Because this mind is having two resources. One resource, because you receive the resources from your nafs, the same way like the first nafs. But this one, this type, the second category, this nafs which is blaming her body, has also another resource, because you are doing some good deeds, reading Quran, making prayers, making Qiyamul Layl, reading the hadith of the Prophet, listening to the lectures which encourage your faith and empower your belief. So this is a second resource to your nafs, where now your nafs has two inputs. The first input from your sins and the second input from your good deeds. Now the effect of these things on your mind becomes less, because your mind has a good resource added to the negative resources which comes from the environment around you. So the third one, dear brothers and sisters, is the comforted nafs, an-nafs al-mutma'inna, and the relation between this nafs and the mind. This nafs is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyatuha an-nafs al-mutma'inna, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. So this nafs always there close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, comforted with being close to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, satisfied with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give this nafs the situation of comfort. And this situation, no one else can reach to this level and this situation except the believer. So a criminal or a thief or an atheist, no one can reach to this level, the comforted nafs, because of one very important thing, that Islam is the only religion which encouraged the balance between the demand and the needs, between the body and the soul and the nafs, while the other ideologies and the other ideas and the other methods in life, they are not creating this balance. That's why you will never reach to this comfort zone in your nafs. So, dear brothers and sisters, now we understand, when you are away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you are far from Islam and the balance which Islam created in between your nafs and your soul and your body, then you will never reach to this comfort zone and the comforted nafs. So inshallah, dear brothers and sisters, in the next lecture, we'll talk about the ways how to purify my nafs, how to reach to this level of purification and to reach to the comforted nafs, inshallah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.